Guys, today we are talking about the Dirty War and the war before the Dirty War of Argentina, and we're going to draw some parallels to today. It's cute and fun. You can see me this weekend at the Stress Factory in New Brunswick, New Jersey, Philadelphia, August 14th and 15th, Austin, August 21st through the 23rd. Tickets at YannisPapasComedy.com.
Love you guys. ChristyComedy.com, August 21st, 22nd. I am in Portland, Maine at Empire Comedy Club, and then in October, I'm at Governor's Comedy Club in Long Island, and I got a bunch more dates up there for October, November. ChristyComedy.com. I'm doing my Saturday shows at 4 and 6:30, and it feels good.
Also, Patreon.com/History Hyenas. Go over there. If you don't like ads, if you don't like censorship, if you want an all-in-one place to get our weekly episodes and our bonus episodes, which is 2 episodes a week, go join right now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of History Hyenas. Today, we have a wild episode. We're going to be talking to you about a little dark history in Argentina in the World Cup right now, but we're going to tell you why they're the bad guys.
And when he says dark history, he doesn't mean skin color, because this is a very white history.
This is the white history, and we're going to do what we can to try to keep Nick at bay, but Nick is very opinionated about Argentina, and he told us to look up certain things, and I tried to look them up, but I couldn't really focus because I was just worried. I was just focused on him vaping, and I was focused on his cholesterol because it looks like he's off the beam.
I think Nick lives off the beam. Now, when I say white history, I mean Argentina, surprisingly, I did not know this, is like 95% Euro descendant white.
Well, it's one of those funny, fun things where that is why the Nazis wanted to go there.
I think that may be the reason why it is white, because it just might all be former Nazis.
Bubba's Buenos Aires looks like a European. I didn't realize that. Like when you look at downtown Buenos Aires, pull up a picture of Buenos Aires, Argentina, it looks like Paris.
Yeah.
Like it's not like one of these like South American places that it looks so European.
Yeah.
Like they have old architecture. Look at that. Old architecture, beautiful. Like, to be honest, a lot of time, I know Argentina's in South America, but it feels like it's a European place.
Yeah. Well, it's all Europeans who landed there.
Have you ever been?
No. You want to go?
Babe, I want to go.
I want to go. Listen, so I did a little bit of the quick and dirty on South America. It's more that I've spent more time thinking about South America in the last 12 hours than I have in my entire life.
Well, here's the thing is
they're all Mexicans.
They are. I'm going to tell you why. You really came in pyoing for Argentina, and it's an interesting thing because I bet your brain was happy that they were like, at least it's 12 hours not thinking about the Shroud of Turin.
Right. It was a way for me to get off the Shroud of Turin and get obsessed with something else. And this was also a suggestion from a fan.
Oh, wow. Do you remember who the fan was?
I don't remember who the fan was.
Thank you.
The fan was like, you know what you'll find interesting? And this fan must have been screwed in with the algorithm, too, because Argentina is big in the algae.
Big in the algae right now. And it was called, what is it called specifically? The Dirty...
It's called the Dirty Naughty War.
The Dirty War
It's the Dirty War. It's the dirty language. It's Dirty War.
Now, it was a period of political violence and state repression in Argentina from 1976 to 1883. Argentina.
Okay, let's set the stage. Okay? Adolf Hitler's alive in the mountains.
Yeah. He's alive and well. My neighbor is from Argentina, where I grew up with.
Like, what you got the problem with the other one?
No. This is not where I currently live, where I grew up. My neighbor is from Argentina.
That makes a lot of sense.
Tito is his name. Tito, and he's a great guy.
What was his full name?
That I don't know, but I know his name's Tito.
Titosten Heisen Vermeer.
Isn't that wild? I don't know their last name. They've been my neighbors for 40 years.
Yeah, well, the situation, Chris, and let's just be crystal clear about it to the people, to the fans, to the people who are listening to the show. You come from a Nazi neighborhood.
It's what it is, so it should be no surprise that my neighbor's from Argentina.
It's not a surprise. I did not know till I met you that there was an ethnic enclave of Germans, and that place was called Ridgewood. And let me tell you something, in 1930, whatever, when there was an event at Madison Square Garden, all the lights in Ridgefield were off because nobody was home.
Ridgewood, yes, we're home. And as we've said many, many times in the show, the event at Madison Square Garden to house the Nazis was catered by a bakery in Ridgewood.
Yeah, because it's what it is. The Nazis just sold out the garden. The kids were moving tickets. And when you went to the train station in Ridgewood, it looked like a Yankee game ended, except instead of Yankees outfits, they had on Nazi uniforms.
It's what it is.
Because that was their team.
It's what it is, Guy. Now, look, Argentina, obviously, we know, we've spoken about, everybody knows that they tried to house Nazis, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be talking about, Guy, look, they had some state-sponsored terrorism, okay? They had some bad things happen in their history. Things weren't that good and things were bad. And I think because of all the pain that the people from Argentina went through during those times, Jesus Christ gave them a little gift named Lionel Messi. He was born a few years after this.
They gave him a little package. And
a very little package.
Very little package. The kid was supposed to be 4'7".
Was he really shot up with HGH?
Yes.
You said that on the last episode.
Yes, this is
so
true.
So you think the chemicals and his mother prayed the midget out of him like the gay was prayed out of me?
100%.
Interesting.
100%.
So without HGH, he would have been a full-fledged midge.
He would have been 4'7". He was on the path to be 4'7". He's now 5'7". So he had to take human growth hormone until he was like 16 or 17. We're going to set the stage here a little bit.
I like when you set the stage, Guy. You're going to put on your dancing shoes?
South America. So here's the time. It's we got the post-Cold War fears.
Right.
We got a lot of, communist kind of revolution sparking up, in the 40s.
Yeah.
It's like a domino effect of revolutions all over the world where we got these young people who are going, we love Marx, right? So Greece...
Because, by the way, things were good in Argentina in the 1900s, early 1900s. Things were really good there. It was beautiful architecture. They had a lot of money. They were one of the richest countries in the beginning of the 20th century.
Yeah.
Argentina had real money, Guy.
They have a lot of resources there. It's a resource dense. They have lithium. They export cattle, beef. They got
beef was big.
Corn. It's a rich country.
Well, they were actually number one. They were the richest country, I believe, in all of Europe and South America. They were number one in the early 1900s because of cattle, and I think corn was the second thing, but cattle. And then when the Great Depression happened, people stopped eating as much beef and corn. They couldn't afford it, and then Argentina plummeted.
Yeah, which is how things flux. But they got everything. Agriculture. It's very arable land. They got copper. They got lithium now. So they're in the game.
Are they, Nick? Do you know their time? Are they below the equator, like it's winter when it's summer here? Do you know?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. Okay. So it's a long flight to Buenos Aires, right? Yeah. It's like on this other side of the world.
Yeah,
in the south.
It's a long flight for us. So, you had like a civil war in Greece in, 46, right after World War II. So you're seeing in all these countries, right? Yugoslavia became a communist dictatorship and it united all those people that now broke up. And so this was just waves coming, right? So Argentina was actually part of a wave in South America of sort of socialist or communist revolutions that were, young people in unions. And so all the right wing or center right or whatever market driven regimes in place had to deal with these revolutions, and these revolutions were violent.
Right.
So
as they normally are,
they were violent. So they coordinated with each other. I think the first one. Was Uruguay the first one? It happened all throughout South America.
Nick's people.
Yeah, and so it was like a domino effect. And so then the countries started working together, and they had a little code with each other where they would allow cross-border kind of detainments.
Right.
They were kind of working together they wanted to clean, they were doing a little cleaning of the commies.
It's what it is.
That's what they were doing.
Because it's easy to think like, oh, Latinos like communism because you think of Fidel Castro, but most of them did not. They're Catholic kids that want capitalism.
Yeah, it was mixed. It was definitely mixed, but
I'll eat that second piece of banana bread, guy.
Yeah, like we usually have, we have our props up here. I always got my Zim, we got our Dr. F, and then we always just have a spare sweet.
Yeah, we just got a spare sweet, and this is banana bread. I've already eaten a full loaf.
Yeah, it's just been a spare sweet. I
will do it again because we're going out to dinner after this. I won't take no for an answer. And we're not going to go to the Greek place that we went to 2 weeks ago because it smelled like cat litter.
It was it's gross.
And I built in a nice cushion because I've told my family that I have a doctor's appointment at 7 p.m., which is a lie.
That was a good one, though.
It's at 4, and I said the doctor pushed it back to 7. So I've just bought myself some time.
That's a good one. So we had, obviously, Cuba in 1959 with Fidel Castro overthrows Batista.
Nick just went pure because it sounds like a wrestling match.
Yeah. And you have to remember, the thing they don't teach us in our schools, and it's very, my education, it was always from the left. It really always, if I honestly say, it's always from like the left.
We're being taught from the left point of view.
From the left, right? Because these revolutions were violent. Right. They were violent revolutions. So 1959, you had Fidel Castro, that we all know about that. 1960s, Venezuela, the armed forces of the Natural Liberation, they wage an insurgency.
Simón Bolivar, we talked about him a lot.
The 1960s hits Guatemala with the left-wing guerrillas beginning fighting against the government. That led to decades of civil war. Then you had Colombia, then you had Peru, then you had Uruguay in the late 60s and early 70s, and then we get to the Dirty War in the late 60s to 1976. It was a long period between the left-wing guerrilla organizations called the Montoneros and the People's Revolutionary Army, known as the ERP.
It's the ERP, yeah. The Nicaraguan Revolution. I said it 3 times with no slip-ups, Nick.
Yeah, that was 1979, so that was after Argentina. So it was just happening in every country.
Why, and what was it? Why would the Latinos, they were going a little nuts down there. What happened? Why did they explode?
It was ideology. It was like this whole, like, they're being, the multinationals are exploiting us. There's some truth to it.
Sure. Yeah.
Inequality, labor unions.
Yeah, you guys are going to pay full price for these avocados.
Yeah, basically, it's all, these people movements, populist left-wing movements. Yeah. They're still happening. They're happening in New York City. So, but these revolutions, right? So, what we're going to talk about, everyone always talks about the Dirty War, but there was a war before the Dirty War.
Whoa.
The war before the Dirty War was...
Not everybody talks about the Dirty War. I've never talked about the Dirty War or heard of it. I like to talk about dirty dancing.
Yeah. Because we're a couple of like uninformed, stupid kids.
We are the ChatGPT sluts.
Yes, but amongst historians and amongst people who are educated, the Dirty War is a known thing.
A big thing.
It's a big thing.
Nick, had you heard of the Dirty War before in Argentina?
I mean, I heard about it, but never from school.
Right.
Yeah.
You learned about it through what?
Just South America.
Just South America.
South America.
And we're going to get to you because I know you have some feelings on.
You're Uruguayan, right?
I'm Uruguayan and Chilean.
Right. Both countries actually right now doing very well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The right is doing so good.
Chile is also geographically where Argentina is. It's winter there right now, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It takes a long time to get there.
Right.
It's not a fun flight.
Many
times.
And you go from the southernmost part of Chile is where you go take a boat to Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
They're close to Antarctica.
I've done that, yeah.
You've been to Antarctica?
Not Antarctica, but I've been like all the way like south. I've been to the edge of the world, baby.
Wait, but you've been all the way to southern Chile where it's like, is it freezing down there the whole year?
I don't really remember it. I remember a boat. There was a lot of snow, but yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And which one of those is Chile is the white one? It's mostly white, or Uruguay?
Uruguay's pretty white, but
Yeah.
Argentina's like the world champions of white.
But there's one other that's mostly white too. It's either Chile or Uruguay.
Yeah, Uruguay's pretty white.
Uruguay.
But some of the players on the Argentinian World Cup soccer team look like indigenous,
They're
like
mixed.
Mexicans.
Mixed.
A little bit, yeah, but there's still, the white just peaks out a lot. Uruguay has a little more like Uruguay will have like one black guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Argentina won't have any.
So like I know Spain is like they look at themselves as like the king of the Spaniards. Do they look down upon Argentina, people from Spain, or do they look at them as equals?
I think they like Argentina because, they're like Europe. Yeah.
They're the most European centric. Like,
Yeah.
they look down on like Uruguay or Honduras.
There's been more of a movement in Spain to be like, hey, South America and Latin America should be thankful for everything that we did for them and stuff. And
Got it.
It's bullshit, bro.
Bullshit.
Look at this.
Yeah, so Uruguay is almost 90% white too.
Wow.
Chile's only 30% white, but Chile's got the best, I think, economy now in South America.
And what is it
The
from?
highest GDP growth. I think Chile's got the best.
Are they selling like things for computers and stuff down there? Is that their industry?
We're going to find out when we look it up.
When we are ChatGPT sluts.
We're going to, well, actually, I'm wrong. But no, I think Chile's per capita doing the best. But obviously, Brazil's a massive country. So,
But Argentina is second with 688 billion GDP.
yeah. But Chile per capita, I think,
bad.
is doing the best. They're ranked fourth overall. They got a 407 billion nominal.
God, we have to go to Argentina. And I have to go to Colombia. I'm not going to let my wife stop me. I want to go see Colombia. There's history there. I want to go to Colombia.
Yeah.
And I want to go with the boys.
So these groups, right, the Montoneros and the ERP, right, initiated the violence. So they started carrying out bombings, assassinations, kidnappings. They were doing bank robberies. They would
Right.
kidnap bankers.
Right.
They were riots, protests. They attacked the military. They attacked the police. And then that escalated the violence, and then the retaliation from the government to keep order. And a lot of the population was for it just because they didn't like the disorder.
Right.
They just wanted law and order. The law and order folks,
Yeah.
were kind of supporting it, but then the government went, by all accounts, way overboard.
Right.
And started going a little nuts. So the early 1970s was just a very turbulent in Argentina.
Right.
And then the military coup. There was a military coup in 1970.
The president's name, by the way, his name, he was a guy, his name was Isabel. Isabel Perón, but his guy's name was Isabel.
Yeah.
Yo, Isabella, get over here.
So Isabel Perón, she was a chick. She was
a chick. I am sorry. I thought it was a guy.
but she was the widow of the other Perón.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, but so in other words, so there's your problem, right? That was too early to have a woman as president.
Too early.
Too early in the game. They weren't ready for that yet, so that's going to cause conflict.
Yeah, so they overthrew her. So it was a military coup. The colonels over there just took over for stability. And but the Perón government had already begun this violent crackdown.
You're making me want a Peroni.
Yeah. A good Italian beer.
Do you want to get a little sauced up today and have your car drive us home?
That would be really good.
And we'll have our car drive us home.
Let's get really I like a daytime. Let's go to a day party.
Because I want to get a little sauced with you.
Let's get fucking sauced up.
I'm not kidding, guy. Even though I know we're gonna
get bent? You want to get tilted?
I want to get an Aperol Spritz.
So the crackdown had started, and then the military takes over, and that's when we get to these right-wing death squads where they're going around. They were known as the Argentine Anti-Communist Alliance, which was AAA, which, if you get AAA, if you call the wrong AAA, if you got a flat on the side of the highway, you call AAA, there's a good chance that a death squad's going to show up in Argentina.
Don't call AAA in Buenos Aires.
No, you don't want to call AAA in Buenos Aires. So,
I don't know what you just called it, but that's good.
What did I call it?
You just Sunday. I don't know. You just
Buenos
made up
Aires?
you said you don't want to call AAA in Venice. You just made sounds.
Yeah, because
that sounded kind of like Buenos Aires.
I think I just exposed the fact that I don't really identify all these different people, but they're all different.
They all are different.
They're not all Mexicans, which is surprising to me.
They're not close to all Mexicans, no. And then, by the way, the leader of the 1976 coup was General Jorge Rafael Videla, and he sounds like a VAR ref for the World Cup.
He does.
I want to see him going like this.
Yeah. This is a paid advertisement from Rumble Wallet, because I needed a new wallet, and so what I did is I went with our sponsor today. They got great wallets. I'm talking about Rumble Wallet.
Because Rumble Wallet is cute. With Rumble Wallet, you can even buy Bitcoin, hold dollar-backed stable coins, own digital gold backed by real gold, all in one place. It's a non-custodial crypto wallet, which means you, not a bank or platform, control access to your funds, because I like walking around my Rumble Wallet in the rambles.
Everybody's got to have a digital wallet. Get your Rumble Wallet. You can do all that. Setup is simple. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your debit card, credit card, or bank account and be up and running in minutes. And for a limited time, you can start your wallet with $10 in U.S. stablecoin by downloading the Rumble Wallet and entering our exclusive promo code Hyenas10 when you sign up now. You can even use your Rumble Rumble wallet to support your favorite Rumble creators like us directly.
It's so fun, so cute. Take control of your money. Get started with Rumble Wallet today. So do this now. Scan the QR code, click the link in the description, or go to wallet.rumble.com/hyenas. Download the Rumble wallet. From there, you set up your wallet, enter promo code hyenas10 to get your $10 in U.S. stablecoin. It's a limited time offer, so act now. Terms and conditions apply. See the description below or visit rumble.com/promo official rules for details.
Because I love my cute new boots.
Because Brunt is awesome. Okay. I mean, Guy, I got the gray ones. I got the work boot ones. They are so cute and so comfy.
Yeah, these are actually really high quality boots. Now, I'm not a blue collar guy. I bought mine for fashion.
Yeah.
Because I love boots. And so, but you can go check out all the boots they got over on their site. Okay, it's Blue Collar Roots. Founder Eric Gerard grew up in the trades. He built Brunt because legacy brands stopped listening and became fashion companies. Well,
Yep.
I like the look.
I like them. They are really cool. High quality build without the heavy, uncomfortable feel of traditional work boots. They're celebrating America's 250th anniversary with a special collection of limited edition gear. So you got to get that now because the quantities are limited and they're going to sell out quickly, hun.
Yeah, it's a tribute to the blue collar workers who have built America for generations. These boots are actually really cute. It's worth the peruse for you if you're looking for boots. The collection launches in July and is only available for a limited time. Quantities are limited, expected to sell out quickly. So they let you actually wear the boots to work before deciding if you want to keep them.
Which is great.
Real job site days, not just walking around your house. And if they're not right for you, you can send them back for a full refund. That's 100% risk-free trial.
Yeah, because a lot of these other companies now, like they know that like workwear is becoming fashion, so they're jacking up the prices, and that's not what the workers want to see. But Brunt Workwear keeps the prices nice and low, so stop overpaying for workwear that doesn't last. For a limited time, our listeners can get $10 off by going to bruntworkwear.com/hyenas. Use the code hyenas at checkout. This is top-tier gear for an incredible price. Plus, with a risk-free trial, there's no reason not to give them a shot.
So, the military justified this 1976 coup by claiming it was like, fighting the threat or whatever. And then that's what the Dirty War, that's where the Dirty War really started. Things started getting really, really
Real
dirty.
real filthy.
Yeah, because it extended, the repression from the government extended past the guerrillas to like students and unions, and then it became a little bit of what you call a little McCarthyism.
Right.
It was like, are you in the room? Were you in the room? Were you at the UFC fight just watching?
Yeah, then you're out of here.
You're at it. It became like that. It was sort of like affiliation. Who are you?
Right.
Like, what's your reputation?
Right.
And so the military started illegally detaining, tortured.
And what year are you up to right now? Because
76 coup.
Because 76 to 81, did we get to the one thing that really disturbed me is when they started stealing kids.
Yeah, they started doing that.
Uh,
And they called it Los Desaparecidos, the disappeared. They just started kidnapping kids.
Yeah, well, what they were doing is they were putting them in planes and dumping them in the ocean. So that's what
Kids, they were doing that.
They were doing that to.
Why were they doing that to
They
them?
were doing that to all families.
They were throwing them out of planes in the middle of the
Pushing
ocean?
them right out into the ocean so the bodies just disappear.
Oh, would they kill them first or they threw them alive into the ocean?
I'm not privy to that. I don't know if they were alive or dead, but I think they were probably alive because why would you kill them if you're going to kill them twice?
This is one of these situations where I just realized I have cum in my pocket.
Can the camera see it?
Yeah, it's just one of those
cum in your
situations where I realized at some point I came in my pocket. And it's just what it is. And it's right there. And yep. And it's just what it is sometimes. No, I'm a little bit of a disturbed, tilted bird.
You are a fucking tilted bird.
And I came in my pocket and I guess weeks ago, and I just put my shorts on.
Yeah. I mean, look, they probably told them they were going skydiving and then said, whoopsie, we forgot the equipment.
It's what it is.
That's probably how they did it.
Yeah, and so it's not good that they did that. And just know that whatever country you're mad at right now, every country at some point in history was bad, bad, bad.
Yeah, it was really bad. And
it's not all the Estados Unidos.
I mean, there's like thousands and thousands, like looking back, historians say there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people that just disappeared. I mean, maybe up to 30,000 or something.
And then some people probably like weren't killed. They were just raised. They were babies. They don't even realize that that's not their family.
Yeah, who the
That also happened.
knows
I'm sure it
happened.
did.
Yeah.
Because remember when I was leaning back and I fell off the chair? Remember when, remember when the leg of the chair? That was wild. I don't know why I was thinking about that.
Yeah. And so from 76 to 81, that's where it really had 300 clandestine detention centers. Victims were abducted in unmarked cars, stripped of legal rights, tortured. The military drug captives, threw them from airplanes. The whole they used a multi-pronged approach.
Yeah, they got a little cruel with it. And then we come into, you had the fall of the junta, which was the economic collapse. Great Britain defeated them in 1982 Falklands War. And then we go on to Operation Condor, Argentina's dictatorship partnered with basically the U.S.
So basically,
we just got involved.
So the U.S. was always backing all these juntas. And what is a junta? Junta is just a takeover from the military.
Yeah, but I'm going to call people juntas today. And I'm going to say you're acting like a junta.
Yeah. And so Operation Condor was this sort of operation between all these right-wing governments in South America. So they were all cooperating with
Chile, Uruguay, Brazil, Argentina.
Yeah.
All kind of on the same side, which some people would say the bad side.
Yeah. So if somebody escaped to Brazil, you call up your guy and go, is he going on your plane or my plane?
It's what it is.
So that's all we need to know is which planes are we using to dump these people.
Right.
And so they were unfortunately tracking down across borders
political exiles. They were trying to kill everybody. It just wasn't good.
Yeah.
And then the stolen babies, pregnant captives, were kept alive only until they gave birth. The junta systematically stole estimated 500 babies born in secret prisons, illegally placing them with military families or regime sympathizers while murdering the biological mothers.
Yes.
So in other words, because they wanted to raise these babies to be like warriors for them, and they got rid of the madres.
They wanted to raise them as janissaries.
Yeah, I don't love that.
It got a little carried away, but also the violence continued. So there's, these are revolutionaries, these were guerrilla fighters that continued to fight. So there was, so this was a reaction.
Because what if my next door neighbor this whole time is a junta?
Could be.
Could my next door neighbor be a junta?
Could be.
Should I go visit my mom and ask him and say, hey, listen to me. Are you a junta?
Yeah. Yeah, it could be.
It could be, right?
Anytime you meet an Argentinian, you just kind of want to know what the family history is.
Yeah, because it could be a junta.
It could be something.
And they're Jehovah's Witnesses. They're not even Catholics. So, is that junta?
No, that's more of a religion.
Right.
Right. That's some branch of Christianity that I don't know too much about.
They're junta's witnesses.
I just know they like to knock on doors.
Yeah, and then that's when you hit the deck. Yeah, and they tried to convert my mom when she first moved in. And Lynn, that's the one thing Lynn will get catty about is do not try to take her away from Jesus.
Don't do it. Well, the Catholicism.
Do not.
Right, because the Jehovah's Witnesses believe in Jesus. When I was in college, the Mormons knocked on my door and I let them in because I was curious. I also went into a Scientology thing and I did the audit because I was curious.
Right.
Yeah, I've done them all.
Can I ask you another question, too? Because we talked about an incident I've had with a neighbor on the Patreon, so go listen to that. But let me just quickly, suburban thing. I keep getting this pest company. Because first of all, on this show, we only deal with pesty. We love pesty and use the promo code Hyenas. And I'm not talking about bugs.
Right.
Right? I'm talking about, I got this pest company. I forgot what they're called. But twice now, they've rang my bell and tried to get me to go with their company. And the first time I allowed it, but the second time I was going out the door, like with my kids, and they were like, hey, they have these pictures of these bugs. And they were like, does this look like bugs you see on your property, blah, blah, blah. And I just said, look, I don't have the time right now. And it was a girl. She was like a 20-something-year-old girl. And she wouldn't let me go. Like my daughter's like, Dad, we got to go. I had to get them to camp or whatever. So I finally said, I said, hun, I'm sorry. I'm not shutting the door in your face, but like, I'm not doing this right now. And then she's like, well, you don't have to be a dick about it. And I was like, what? You rang my bell and trying to take my time when I don't have any. How am I a dick? Right? Like, what would you do in that situation if somebody's trying to ring your doorbell and sell you something? First of all, I understand sales tactics, but please don't ring my bell and try to sell me something.
Yeah, there's a lot of people crossing the line where you live.
What is going on?
I don't know. Yeah, if somebody there was one time, like the real estate people, one time a banker rang my bell.
Really?
Yeah, I think you were there, Jesse.
Or in Brooklyn,
this was way back in Brooklyn.
Because like nobody's ringing your bell where you live now.
No. But I mean, this was in Brooklyn. for business. He was like ringing my bell because I wasn't responding to like.
That's a lot.
They constantly ask you like, "Hey, invest with us, invest." I'm like, "Guy, I got my own guy."
Well, let me ask you a question. Did he have anything in common with half of Jesse?
No.
Interesting.
No.
Wow.
He had more in common with Godfrey.
Wow. That's interesting.
That's 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was a little Karen. I called Chase and I was like, "What?
This is not okay."
Yeah. And they were like, "That's not supposed to happen."
Right.
Yeah. You're not supposed to do that. And I had to do that because that is way over the line.
Yeah, way over
I
the line.
understand you're aggressive. You're trying to get business or whatever. But like, what? I mean, there's a limit, guy.
Yeah.
There's a limit, guy.
Don't ring my bell.
Yeah. So Argentina had experienced repeated coups.
Right.
They did.
I like saying Argentina, but you could say Argentina.
Argentina and the banning of
Argentina.
Peronism, economic instability and intense conflict between workers, students, the armed forces, and the political elite is kind of what started this whole dirty bird.
Yeah.
It's a dirty bird.
And by the way, I just want to say mothers and grandmothers of the Plaza de Mayo in 1977, brave mothers began marching in Buenos Aires wearing white headscarves to demand the return of their missing children. The grandmothers of Plaza de Mayo later created a national genetic data bank to identify and reunite stolen babies, now adults, with their real biological families. So good for you, grandmothers of Plaza de Mayo. And I learned that Plaza de Mayo, they had a little bit of a civil war, and Argentinian citizens started bombing their own plaza. So Argentinians will throw bombs at you.
Yeah, this is so crazy. This is very similar to like what the Ottomans did with the Janissaries. It's very wild. So they took these babies and just...
Well, hun, they had, look, in 1985, they had the trial of the juntas. That was the first civilian court, like big crimes trial that they did since Nuremberg.
Yeah.
And they convicted top military leaders like General Vedella.
Yeah.
So we may not know about it that much in our, but this is a huge part of history in Argentina. And maybe that's why my neighbor wound up next to me. That's possible. I got to ask him if he left because of the trial of the juntas, and is he a junta?
Or you could just go over his house and ask to go to the bathroom and then sneak around the basement and see if you find it. Oh, they always keep their old souvenirs in an old tin box.
Who?
And if you open it up,
Argentinian people?
Old junta or Nazis, they always got a tin box full that they hide under the floorboards where you'll get it's probably his old uniform. You know, he puts it on when he gets drunk in the basement.
Yeah.
Remembers the glory years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
I used to go in his basement.
Yeah, you guys snoop around there.
I got to take a sniff around.
Yeah, move some floorboards, see if anything moves.
Yeah, is there any juntas down there?
Yeah, that's what you ever hear those stories about the Nazis? They always got like a box somewhere in the basement that gets uncovered, and it's just like all his paraphernalia. Just him with a picture of Hitler, just like,
Yeah.
just like, he was an officer with Hitler.
Yeah.
I think when you were really in with Hitler, you could do that one.
Took a little,
Yeah, I think like I don't
You'd
think
have to go all the way.
Yeah, I think the full one was for people.
You think like when you're really in with Hitler, he was like, there's no need.
You don't have to just give me the. Yeah, you're in this circle. This was his circle of trust.
Now
right
we
here.
got wind. Did somebody turn on a fan? Because all of a sudden wind is going, and we started mentioning, is
I
that the
think
ghost of the Nazis?
No, I think Chris Italia just got up from his chair.
Just got it from his chair. He just farted.
So it's just what it is. Pushes the air around a little bit.
Well, I think you might see a suction device of just a banana bread just going through the vent.
So before the Dirty War, like I said, there was repeated military coups. It was really unstable. Juan Perón had been overthrown before in 1955, and he was in exile. But his Peronianism, as they called it, his working class kind of, governance continued to dominate politics. And the deciding point was Cordobazo of May 1969, which was a huge worker and student uprising in Cordoba against the military government. It wasn't like a communist revolution, but it convinced many young radicals that the dictatorship was vulnerable and that mass revolt could become armed revolution. And then the Montoneros formed, and that's when they started. They started bombing shit. And many of them came from Catholic, nationalist, and university backgrounds, and they believed Perón could become the symbolic leader of a socialist, anti-imperialist revolution. They announced themselves dramatically in 1970 by kidnapping and executing former President General Pedro Eugenio Aramburu.
That's wild. They executed their own president?
An ex-president. Yeah.
That's kind of nuts.
Yeah, former president who they blamed for repression after the 1955 anti-Perón.
Do you think that could ever happen here? Like, could we ever lose it?
They tried.
So-
I mean, remember, they tried.
No, but this is like a public execution, what they did in Argentina.
Yeah, well, they tried to publicly execute Trump.
No, I'm talking about like this is like the people just like did it, like
It could happen.
overthrew him.
Yeah, it could happen. If you have allies like in the military or something, it could
It
happen.
just feels so foreign for it
Yeah.
to happen. Like, but I wonder if that's what it feels like in every country when it eventually happens.
Yeah, I mean, what they started doing is kidnapping for ransom and political leverage. They started assassinating military, police, business figures, bombings and armed robberies everywhere, attacks on barracks and police stations, political organization in universities, neighborhoods, and unions. So this is what set the stage for the backlash that became the Dirty War. And you never hear about that. Like it didn't happen in a vacuum, right? So the violence from the radicals, from the left-wing radicals, is what initiated this backlash.
Right.
And so there's a constant fight, between these two during this time. It's still going today, right? So, I mean, we're kind of living through it, so I don't think we identify it as much, but how many attempts have there been on President Trump?
3?
I think
I
it's been
think
3
the one in
assassination
Pennsylvania,
attempts.
one in the White House, but it was stopped by Oz Perlman.
Charlie Kirk was assassinated.
He was
He was
assassinated.
assassinated publicly. And they've all been by left-wing, revolutionaries.
Right.
For all intents and purposes. I'm not saying anything besides the facts, Nick. I'm just letting you know what's going on. So, and I'm bringing it up because you're going like, is this bubbling again? Like
Right.
here?
Guy,
You got bugs.
I got bugs where I live, and that's why I use Pesty. They get rid of over 100 types of bugs, from spiders and ants to roaches and scorpions. Pesty is kid and pet friendly. I got kids, I got pets. The pesticides they ship are fully registered and have been used in hospitals and schools all over the country. Kit includes a sprayer, mixing bag, pesticide, gloves, and instructions you can complete in less than 10 minutes. Pesty offers a 100% bug-free guarantee or your money back. If the bugs don't go away, you get a full refund.
This is a great DIY way to be your own exterminator. Everyone likes to hang out outside. I hate the bugs. The stuff they sent us, I used. It's really good stuff. So with Pesty, you get started at just $35 per treatment with a customized plan based on your location, bugs, and climate. With the DIY kit, there's no strangers in your house or appointments to make time for. It's really easy. Pesty gets rid of over 100 types of bugs, from spiders and ants to roaches and scorpions. Pesty's kid-friendly, pet-friendly. It ships fully registered and has been used all over. Pesty offers 100% bug-free, your money back. Kit, you get the sprayer, like everything Chris said. So you got to do it.
It's just beyond cute. I would do it. Go to pesty.com/hyenas for that extra 10% off. That's pestie.com/hyenas. 10% off. Pesty.com/hyenas. 10% off your order today. Keep bugs out of your summer sanctuary with Pesty. Guy, Quince, another shipment. We've, in the bed the other day, the comforter that we had was the softest comforter I've ever had in my life. So I said to Jazz, where did you get this? Like, dead serious. And she was like, this is from Quince. It was like $50.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, it's incredible.
It's a no-brainer. You guys definitely should download the Quince app. You get all the beautiful clothes they got there, high quality. What an assortment. 100% European linen pants, shirts for the summer, easy to throw on. The summer upgrade is right now on Quince. Check it out, starting at just $34. The tees are soft. I love the Quince tees. I buy them on Quince. It's really great. You're getting up to 50 to 80% less than similar brands in the same quality.
And they become a trusted favorite for everything from home to travel to everyday essentials. It's not just clothes. The clothes are great, but there's so much more now. Make your summer wardrobe easier. Go to quince.com/hyenas for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/hyenas for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/hyenas.
Like, what's
Well,
going
Nick,
on?
what did you were, when we were outside, what did you tell us to look up? And we didn't.
Yeah, I told you to look up the whitening in Argentina.
So tell us about that. What is the whitening? You're not talking about people's teeth.
No, yeah. This was way before 1800s and 1900s. It was a whole wave, this whole concept to make Argentina white. They only let in European immigrants.
Okay.
If you were mixed race, you counted as white no matter what. If military, any wars, black people were always sent off to the front first. So it was a very conscious effort to make Argentina as white as possible.
And you think
that's why it is.
That's why the Nazis possibly went there?
That's exactly why it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It was called blanqueamiento.
Yeah.
The whitening.
The whitening 19th century state policy.
Yeah, and elites encourage mass European immigration while marginalizing, displacing, and statistically erasing indigenous and Afro-Argentine populations. Oh, was the natives of Argentina, were they more dark-skinned?
Yeah, we were all, everybody was mixed back in the day. And Argentina was like, we're just
because how did Argentina become, like, did Spain conquer that too? Is that why they speak Spanish?
Yeah.
But before that, it just looked like indigenous people.
They were just, mestizos.
Yeah.
They were all like Indian looking, like Nick.
Yeah, and they were like, probably not a formed government, or maybe they had one, I don't know. Because I know, like, in Mexico, I didn't realize.
One group of people had pants on, the other group of people had leaves on.
It's what it is.
I'm trying to explain it in an easy way.
Yeah. And we talked about how Bolivar was the one who tried to,
He tried to say, let the guys with the pants just figure something out.
Yeah, let the guy, So that's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because...
Yeah, so that's no bueno. They did... So Argentina's got a sordid past.
Right.
They got
Buenos Aires mean, Nick?
fresh airs.
Because it's so high up?
No, just it's nice. It's fresh air. It's beautiful.
Have you
Not
been
a lot
to
of
Argentina?
turbulence.
I think only on layover, but yeah. I don't
Right. Not a lot of turbulence. So Argentina right now has not very many non-whites.
Right.
90,
Their soccer team is what they look like, basically.
90% white. Like
Right.
Uruguay. Uruguay's 90% white.
One of their best players outside Messi, isn't his last name like McAllister?
Yeah,
His
McAllister.
name's like Kevin McAllister.
Yeah. Yep.
What's that guy is wild. His last name is McAllister.
Yeah, there's people with, when I first went to Chile, my cousin introduced me to his friend. He's like, oh, his name is Nicolas also, Nicholas Brenner. And I was like, what the and he looked like white German.
But he's from Argentina.
He's from Chile, yeah.
I think they also got a lot of immigrants from the Levant, right? Too?
What's the Levant?
Levant is like the Middle East, right? Jess? Yeah, I mean, it's a white... look, it's a white team. Yeah. They're all white. They got like a little bit of Spanish flavor, but they look like Spain.
And they invented tango. Everybody thinks Spain invented tango, but Argentina invented tango.
Wow.
Really? Do you know any of the history of that?
That's it.
Okay.
And Robert Duvall did a movie about it where he goes to Argentina undercover as like a spy, but then he becomes like a tango dancer or something. I don't know.
Sounds like a horrific movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, what made you go pawing about the dirty war of Argentina? Was it just because you don't want them to win the World Cup?
I do want them to win the World Cup.
Oh, because everybody else
everyone
doesn't
hates
want
them,
to.
so I think it's funny.
Right.
Because if you watch a compilation of Lionel Messi goals, you're watching something, dude, go on the internet for yourself. The guy is unbelievable.
He's the same size as the ball.
Listen, the guy's unbelievable. Does he get favorable treatment? Probably.
But what
did Jordan get favorable treatment?
Sure.
The stars, they want the stars on the field. It's good for business. It's good for the fans. I don't know what to tell you. When that Swiss guy dove, what are you supposed to do? He rolled around 3 times like he was hurt, and then you watch the replay, nobody touched him. Technically, he had a yellow card, so technically you're supposed to get a yellow card for that. So that means you get a red card.
Embolo.
So it's like, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to break the rules then because you don't want people to say that Argentina has the advantage? What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, the kid rolled around.
It was a stupid move. He was in the midfield. There was no consequences for that free kick. I don't even know why he fucking did it. And he had a yellow. Why would he risk a dive, especially with VAR? It's like... You know what I mean? It would have been a yellow on the other guy, so of course they're going to VAR it if the guy says I didn't touch him. So it was just the guy who did it just wasn't thinking.
Do you think the backups for Argentina could beat the best players on Team USA? Most likely? Probably, right? Yeah, it's just wild. They're just a lot better.
They're really good at it. They're really, really good at it.
But they have the dirty war history, and they're a little bit of a dirty team.
Yeah. So after Perón is in exile, he returns in 1973. They restored elections, and then Perón's proxy, Hector Camporo, won. Political prisoners were released, and Perón returned after almost 18 years in exile. So the left wing's like, we got this!
Perón came back!
He came back, but a revolutionary left, represented by the Montoneros and Radical Youth, was a hostile faction. Conservative trade union leaders were a hostile faction. Nationalist right-wing Peronists were a faction. Police and security-linked anti-communists. So it wasn't all unified, just like now. The Democratic Party's not all unified. There was infighting, and there was conservative. There was a bunch of people who didn't like him.
It's the same thing.
And so then we had a big...
Like we said, nothing's really that different. Like we said on the Patreon, nothing's really that different than 1,000 years ago. It's the same thing.
It just recycles. It's like... equality, people want more.
Enjoy the ride.
And then it gets stagnant, then you go, right wing, and then it becomes inequality. It's like stagnation or inequality. They're both going to happen. So then the internal war became visible at the Izizia massacre on June 20th, 1973, when right-wing Peronist gunmen fired on left-wing Peronists gathered to welcome Perón home. So you had these right-wing Peronists, and there was left-wing Peronists. Everyone loved Perón.
And they started killing each other.
They started killing each other, gathered to welcome Perón home. Numerous people were killed or wounded. So that's the way it started. But so you knew it was going to get dirty.
But let me ask you this. That's also a personality trait, how we said on the Patreon that like certain bad eggs, certain bad apples just make it hard for everyone else. I've never once been galvanized or moved enough to protest for anything. Would it be better if more people were like me, or do we need balance? We need some people to go out there and protest and start shooting people.
Yeah, I think it would depend. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I just don't want to do that. I don't care.
You got slavery. I think it's good to protest. You know, like if slavery, that was probably a good protest.
That was a good protest, but I think during the time, if I was alive during that, I still just wouldn't get up and protest.
I know. Yeah,
I don't have the energy. I don't want to do it.
I don't either. I mean, I
just don't want to do it. I don't want to stand out there with a sign.
I don't even want to go to a nightclub, let alone a street party.
Like I just feel like even in soccer, when I watch them like complain to the ref, it's like, what is the complaining going to do? The guy made the call already. It's not going to change anything.
Right.
Like some people got to get out of their own way. It's like, what do you mean? Like you're going to you're going to negotiate with like the bill that you owe. It's like you owe the money.
Yeah.
Just shut up.
You know, I think from just an outsider's perspective, like, you know, little Alex de Tocqueville here on Argentina and all of soccer and this whole controversy.
Who's Alex de Tocqueville?
Alex de Tocqueville was a French guy who came over to America and he wrote about America. And because he had a little bit of an outsider status, he was able to shine the light on us in a way that we couldn't ourselves.
That's right. I like that. That's like Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. Sort of like John Oliver, you know, just come over.
Shine the light on me.
Shine the light on me from outside, so you're not blinded by some of the blind spots that you have you're inside. It's like, whoa, let me notice all these things.
Because if the fact that you know who Alexis de Tocqueville is means you are one thing and one thing only, that is Gay.
He wrote a very famous thing called Democracy in America.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
So, just to do that a little bit.
Yeah, what is it?
About soccer.
Tell me.
You either got to go full blown, we're going to get these calls right, or you got to get rid of the thing altogether and let that soccer culture and momentum thing just go. Get rid of the hydration breaks. Do it the way they did it, where a goal with the hand counts, whatever it is. If the ref sees it, he does. If he doesn't, either go that way and keep it like that's how soccer is.
There's a human element to it?
Yeah, or go full blown. We're like, we're going to get every call. We're going to try to get the calls right.
Right.
Well, but I
they're in a middle ground right now.
They're in some sort of middle ground. Why don't they do something like where you get a challenge like we do? Like you can challenge a call. If you get it right, you don't lose it. If you get it wrong, you lose it.
Right.
You know, so it's like, it's not so much on the ref to call the VER. It's on the team to call it. Because now the ref's taking the fucking, I feel bad for the refs because the refs are going like.
Yeah. Or refs going to get killed one day, right?
Yeah.
For sure. Like, because they get so angry at these refs.
Yeah. And I've watched these calls and they're accusing these refs of all this shit. And I'm going like, I'm seeing all these compilations of calls from the other team that's claiming that they got fucked, and I'm watching them get away with shit. So I'm going like, soccer's just a really hard game to ref.
Right.
It's so physical. It's so violent. They bang into each other. They kick each other. You can't tell if it's intended or if the guy was going for the ball. So it's like what they should do is give both teams like 3 or 4 challenges per match. And if you feel like you want to VAR it so the whole world can see. And then it's like, let everything else go.
I like it.
So it's like the ref decided to call back that goal on Norway, right? So then it's on him. As it turns out, Erling did push the guy with 2 hands and he fell. It's a foul. But he didn't call it. He didn't see it. So if he didn't call it, it would have had to have been on Norway. I think it would be better if Norway said England to challenge.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That would take the pressure off the ref, who already has a very difficult job. Nobody cares about the refs.
Nobody cares about the refs.
What about the refs?
And I will say the refs for World Cup soccer are more jacked than every other ref. I mean, those guys are jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really. You have to.
You got to get a snooze in. Sometimes, a zin. You got to get a zin.
And why is there only one ref on the field? I understand there's guys.
Multiple refs on the field.
No, there's only one ref on the field, and then there's sideline refs who can call fouls and they check with each other. But it's like, can we get a little fucking American efficiency in this fucking sport? I'm done with your fucking European drama and like, this is my perspective, and you yell about it in coffee shops and then you murder a fucking soccer player. Just, can we get some fucking American efficiency here? Get the replay in.
Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Let's just do it.
Let's just do it.
Okay, what does de Tocqueville say?
What did de Tocqueville say about
What did he say about it?
By the way, Juan Perón just died. Nobody killed him.
Recently, he
No,
died?
the guy we're talking about.
Oh, just nobody killed him. Well, that's
Isabel
nice.
Perón took over just because he fucking died.
Yeah, it's just that. Hey, listen, the kid just died.
And listen, he was a kid who sided with the trade union establishment and the Peronist right. What does that even mean?
I don't know.
He denounced the Montoneros during a rally in Plaza de Mayo and their supporters. I guess, so they hated him too.
Why did they hate him?
Because they figured he was not left enough.
That's the thing with the left is you can never be left enough.
He could never fucking be left enough.
So if my saying is to the left is you can never be left enough, so leave me out.
Yeah, but also they started doing the bad stuff because she was politically weak and heavily...
Way Song Xian.
Sometimes you just want to simplify it.
That's why. Everybody knows it.
Ladder 14.
Almost no.
Ladder 14.
Sometimes you want to simplify it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's just too much reading.
Isabel Perón.
Way Song Xian.
So she was influenced by her advisor, Jose Lopez Riga, and he was closely associated with the anti-communist alliance known as the AAA, like we said. And that death squad was connected to sectors of the police, government, and the Peronist right. So it was just a big mess. I mean, Argentina sounds like it was a massive mess. And then AAA, they started assassinating left-wing politicians. They bombed offices at home. They threatened intellectuals, performers, and journalists. They abducted and murdered suspected radicals. So it was just this violence and then reaction violence and then back and forth, back and forth. And a U.S. diplomat described left-wing terrorism as emerging around 1969, and right-wing counterterrorism became organized with the AAA in 1974. So it took about 5 years for the government to go, all right, now we're going to see your terrorism, and we're going to do worse.
Yeah, it's just what it is.
It's what it is.
And that's just what happens, Guy. And I realize that the Patreon at patreon.com/History Hyenas has probably went down a few bucks because we have forgotten to give them a $25 episode.
We got to do that.
4 months.
We got to do that.
So that's just.
Can we just meet one extra day a month and do that?
We're going to meet one extra day a month and start giving the 25s what they deserve. And we're also going to start doing live shows again because we've just been forgetting to do that.
Let's do that
We've
too.
had summer brain and we've been sundowning, and we just want to let you guys know that we are aware.
Yes.
And before there is another Aziza massacre on us, we will start to give, we're doing really good with the 5 and 10s at patreon.com/History Hyenas. You're missing a lot of content if you don't join there. 5s and 10s are fully loaded. We give a lot of extra content there. It is well worth it. And $25 are worth it. We will catch up.
You know, it's just want to say what's interesting about this Perón guy, just because you're probably sitting there thinking, was he left wing? Was he right wing? It's very interesting. You know, he was like, by today's standards, he was economically left leaning, but he was a nationalist.
Right.
So he was a strong Argentinian nationalist. Socially and politically, he was kind of authoritarian, which that's not atypical.
He looks like a white guy.
But he was not left enough, like we joked about. He attracted many left-wing supporters, but he himself was not a communist and opposed orthodox Marxism. So they called it a big tent. So they say one reason Argentina became so divided is that Peronianism became a big tent with a lot of different factions underneath it. So it was just inevitable that this big tent was going to percolate and just become a big yeast infection.
Well, he was.
And then we got Nick, who came to the United States.
Well, Nick came to the United States.
And my knee hurts. Can you feel it and see if something's wrong with it?
Yeah,
I had to quit boxing because I started having pain in my knee.
Where? In the front, on the side?
On the bottom of the kneecap.
On the bottom of the kneecap. That's a little thing called tendinitis. That's a little thing called tendinitis. You're going to have to ice it. You're going to have to keep it elevated. You're going to have to take a couple of Advils a day for about a week.
Is there a peptide I can shoot right into it?
It's a little thing called BPC 157.
I want the fucking alphabet and the numericals, and I want you to inject it right in me.
I want to do it. I've been off peptides for the past 6 weeks, but make no mistake, I'm going back.
Well,
I'm going to Ireland on Thursday, Guy.
For what?
I'm going because my friend's getting married out there, so I'm going to Ireland from Thursday, and I'll be back Monday. Oh shit! I forgot I won't be here on Monday. I forgot about that. So we're going to have to meet another day this week.
You know what I like?
And I'm leaving Thursday, guy.
Yeah, so
we're going to have to meet Wednesday. We're going to have to go to Bay Ridge.
You know what I like about you too, cuz? Is when you come back from Ireland, you're going to come back like fully committed Irish.
100,000%.
You're going to go through an Irish phase now.
Because I'm going to come back like a baked potato.
Yeah, because you're going to go to Ireland and you're going to get into... Because make zero mistake, on your DNA, I think you had about 30% Irish.
Big time. Oh, yeah.
So you're going to...
Can you guys meet Wednesday?
I think we're going to have to.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I can.
Can you, Jesse?
I got to do...
Or Nick?
I got to do fucking New Brunswick, New Jersey with fucking Vinny the Deaf.
On Thursday?
On fucking this weekend. I don't want to do it.
Vinny the Deaf is a funny thing to call him.
Because he can't hear anymore, right?
He can't hear anymore, and that's the good thing. You can make fun of Vinny Brand because he can't hear the podcast.
Yeah, see me in New Brunswick, New Jersey at the Stress Factory this weekend.
All right, guys, go to patreon.com/History Hyenas where all the fun happens. As always, at the end of every single episode, we like to read out the names of the newest members, and we give the funniest name, the PPW, the pseudo penis of the week. So here are the newest members. Welcome to the matriarchy. Black and Chinese, call it Wei Sean Chen. Okay.
Good try.
Lost fingers on the fourth, but I can still fist.
Put him on the list.
Put him on the list.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
And there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, that's very funny.
John.
Because technically you can't. Yeah.
Throat so loose, I eat hot dogs without chewing. There you go.
There you go.
Then we got Giannis drops acid to open his second eye.
We're going to put that on the list.
There it is.
Yeah.
Then we got he is Steveland. Okay. Father Bill told me no thanks. What's wrong with me? Crystal Barda.
Those Father Bills just, they persist.
They're there.
Just like Hillary Clinton, she persists.
Persist. Smelly fingers.
How you doing, Chicken Finger?
Johan Cav. The one Namin at the AC dining room show.
AC Dining Room Show.
I don't know.
Wait, did I do a show in Atlantic City? Was it a
Oh, you
dining
just
room?
recently did a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But it wasn't in a dining room, though.
It was in a
Did you
dining
call
room.
it a dining room, maybe, though?
I might have.
Yeah. Maddie Venn, Jake Klein, 03.
Oh, I think I know exactly who that was because I saw him afterwards in the casino.
There it is.
How you doing, guy?
Wapiti Josh. I think Yanni secretly only has eye for Mamdani. Okay. Sarah Dawn, Austin Eubanks, Adam Rios.
Let me just say, if that, you know, I don't want to ruin it for the next guy, but I only got eye for Yanni or something like that instead of eyes.
Yeah, that would be good.
That guy just ruined it with the Mondani thing.
Steven. Then we got the Fagonacci Squeakwints.
Wait a second.
Ladder 14.
Fagonacci Squeakwints.
Yeah, the Fagonazzi squeakwents. I'm going to Drexler that
Okay.
because it's hard to say, but it's really good.
Chrissy's Cops and Robbers Wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
Well said.
Yeah.
John Begley, Alex Velasquez, Dancing Queef, Feel the Heat as she squats over me.
Instead of a dancing queen.
Yeah.
Drexler it.
Okay.
Yeah, almost.
Mark, Jenny Larkin, Sean Johnson, Dutch Leroy.
Ladder 14.
Whoops, whoops, whoops. Chris Italia's toilet seat.
Steel reinforced. Chicken finger.
Chicken finger.
It's two inside, but chicken finger.
but it got a big laugh at
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah. It's two inside, though.
Mark Bill the Wahlberg.
Put him on the list.
That's what it is.
Yeah, put him on the list.
That's where you go. Jay Clark, Joaquin Rodriguez, Mark Barone, Jessica Longo, David Berlin, Brendan, Billy Gibson got the vasectomy after the fourth abortion.
Put him on the list.
That's what it is. Okay. Carol, Daniel Diaz, Tim Ingram, KP's Meats. You can beat my meat, but you can't beat my prices. Okay.
Wait, say it again?
KP's Meats. You can beat my meat, but you can't beat my prices.
Kids probably going for the list and also screwed in at the same time.
There it is.
So we've actually never had that where a kid was like, I'm going to promote my shit.
Right.
And I'm also going to go for it.
Yeah.
So
Good for you.
Good for you, KP Meats.
Nor Near Fitness, screwed in so tight I smell gas.
Yeah. So what is it?
Nor Near Fitness.
Maybe she screwed in too and she went for it.
There it is.
Two back-to-back that went for it.
Angel De Leon, Tom Calamari, Ian Gurney, Colton, Scott Everman, Gabe Luckman, Hi, Aldolfo Quezada, Richard Gere's Hamsters Eat Ass, Vincenzo Russo, Nancy Pelosi's Mud Flaps.
And also, shout out to all the straight to the backs. We appreciate you,
Love
too.
you guys. Tamara Bishop.
You're just here for the content and all business. We like it.
Big Mike is going to make Josh choke it. Okay. Sass, Havan Framer, Aaron V, Theron, Michael Cloward, Crypto Stanek, Zoran Mom Jihadi.
Ways on
It's just funny because some of my friends definitely say that.
Yeah, put it on the list. I never heard it.
CB, Swish, she took the kids, but at least they have step siblings now. Call me Pluribus. Emerson, will eat your ass, but then call you fight.
Ways on Shein.
Okay.
Drexler.
Flushing Park Santa, call me 5-cent rebate. Okay. His story 69. Having Leroy ticks in movie theaters and buses. Okay. Mateo, Mamdrani Brasco, Ben Gladding, vegan from El Paso, call me the Lone Star.
Whoa!
Whoopsie. I walked into it. Sorry about that.
Daisy. He's talking about himself, though.
Here for a good time and a long time. I'm on peptides.
I like it.
Yeah, good
I'm a
for you.
Drexler, yeah.
We're going to get Yanni on Peppies. Anna Brunk, ZDO, Jack Bush, grown man, but my toddler Leroy stepson has a bigger piece. Okay.
Drexler.
Chrissy's Blue Chew makes him shoot the glue goo. Dylan Kimes, Nick D, call me Mary Poppins because I like to be surrounded by chimney sweepers.
Put him on the list.
There it is.
Yep.
It's a very good name for you. Aaron Brown, looking in the fridge for emotional support.
Okay.
Marco Holo, MAGA now.
Chicken finger.
Okay. MAGA now means Miami acquires Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, he's on the Heat now.
Looney Fumes.
Looney Fumes chicken finger.
Roethlisberger didn't do it.
Chicken finger.
My tiny peen fits nice tucked back in my polka dot bikini. Okay.
Went for it.
Kraken trannies call it loopholes drag race.
I like it, Drexler.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Branch manager at Banco Popular ate some Tanko Chocolar, then took an Adolf Hitler on my chest.
Kid had a...
Ways on Shein.
Fuck your jujitsu, Jew Rogan. You're still a squeak.
Okay.
Hey.
Lad 14.
Thomas Weinkin, Ivan the Squeak. Fumario Lopez. Chrissy Method Knee Distefano.
Chrissy what?
Method Knee Distefano. I don't know.
Get it.
Alberto Medina. Giannis's pregnant couch.
That's very funny.
Yeah. It's just what it is.
It's inside, but what do we do with that? It's
up to
very
you.
funny.
Because you
Put it on the list.
just jerking off on the couch. Yeah.
I mean, just honor it. I don't think it's going to win, but honor it.
Dehan Hanna, David, call my piece Boogie because it's always with a hoodie. Okay. Cam Howell.
I like that.
Yeah, it's
Hold on.
circumcised.
Circumcised. Drexler.
Uncircumcised.
Yeah,
I meant to say,
uncircumcised. Yeah, Drexler.
2 scoops for the toots. Arrow Vision allowing her to read NDAs with precision.
Lad 14.
Okay.
So here's the deal. That's the best one.
Right.
So what do we do?
But it's not going to win. We can't go public with that.
We can't, but I just want to honor you.
So we'll put it
and
in the
say
walk-
your creativity is it's the best one.
It's the best one,
It's
but we
the
can't,
funniest one.
unfortunately, because then we would be legally liable.
We cannot do that. But well done.
Aboriginal werewolf, call me Mandingo. Dan, Venety is reading comprehension has fumes. Hey, how you doing? My name's Steven Cross, and I'm here for the content.
Thank you.
Michael Florino, and then last but not least, Jesse's hollowed out tangerine.
Chicken finger. Can we just one more time? What was it?
Arrow Vision allowing her to read NDAs with precision.
Just so you know, you're what they call the de facto winner. But
Yeah,
we can't.
we can't.
Can't put you up in lights.
Okay, so here's the list. Lost fingers on the 4th, but I can still fist.
That guy's sticking around.
Yanni drops acid to open his second eye.
He's sticking around.
Mark Bill the Wahlberg
Sticking around.
got the vasectomy after the 4th abortion.
We're going to Drexler that guy.
Okay.
Thanks for playing.
Zoran Mom Jihadi.
We're keeping that guy.
Okay. Call me Mary Poppins because I like to be surrounded by chimney
We're
sweepers.
going to Drexler that.
Okay. Giannis's pregnant couch.
What do we do with that? That's funny, but it's like, is it inside?
I mean,
Does it go up in lights?
I don't know if it's good enough to beat these.
Yeah, so we're
but
gonna
it's not
Drexler.
bad.
We're
But
gonna Drexler.
okay, so we'll get that out of here. All right, so here are the 4. We got lost fingers on the 4th, but I can still fist. Yanni drops acid to open his second eye. Mark Bill the Wahlberg. or Zoran Mamjahadi.
Okay, toughie. What was the first one again?
Lost fingers on the fourth, but I can still fist. Which is interesting because if you lost, I mean, it's probably better actually.
Yeah. We're gonna Drexler him since the fourth pass, but we're gonna honor you and say any other day.
Yanni drops acid to open his second eye.
That's funny. We got to keep that around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mark Bill de Wahlberg.
Too simple for this list.
Right.
It's a chicken finger.
So then it's between Yanni drops acid to open his second eye or Zoran Mamjahadi.
Now, Zoran Mamjahadi, is that like a common thing that I just never heard?
I've never heard it, and to me it just sounds like it made me laugh because it's like guys from Queens don't know how to say Mamdani, so they just call him Mamjahadi.
So is that the winner?
It feels like it. What do you guys think? It got the biggest reaction out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
That seems like
You like
the winner.
that?
Yeah.
Nick?
Yeah.
Wow, even Nick is saying it, and he votes for Zoran.
I know. So, but I think that's funnier than.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the winner.
So congratulations. Go to historyhyenasisback.com to see your neighborhood lights. Zoran Mamjahadi, you are this week's PPW pseudo-penis of the week. We are here for you every single week at patreon.com/historyhyenas and youtube.com/historyhyenas. Like, support us. Tell your friends about the Patreon. More episodes over at Patreon right now.